George Harrison's son saddens fans as he confirms the rumours. In a bombshell that sent shockwaves through the music world, Dhani Harrison, the sole heir to George Harrison's mystic melody, has spoken. Fans are reeling from the news. Unheard tracks from the legendary George Harrison exist. Could this be the treasure trove fans have been dreaming of, or the heartache they never expected to endure? Get ready for an emotional ride as we unravel the truth that has left Beatles aficionados worldwide in a state of disbelief. This is Iconic and the story we're about to dive into is as stunning as it is controversial. Hit play and brace yourselves. This revelation about George Harrison's final works is going to hit you like a lyric you never saw coming. Envision the experience of growing up with the knowledge that your father's music altered the world. That's the world that the Beatles' offspring inhabit. Yet, having a Beatle like John, Paul, George or Ringo as a parent has its pros and cons. There's the legacy of their genius, but it's also coupled with the immense pressure of expectations. Julian Lennon endeavoured to step out from under his father's colossal shadow. For Zack Starkey, there was the intimidating challenge of stepping into his father's role behind the drum set. Dhani Harrison's upbringing was surprisingly regular. He was unaware for a long time that his father was a member of the Beatles. Following George's death in 2001, whispers of unheard songs he left behind began to circulate. When Dhani acknowledged their existence, it set the fan base alight with speculation. Did George Harrison leave behind a secret cache of unfinished songs? Or would it have been wiser to let these remnants of his artistry remain undiscovered? Julian Lennon. Born unexpectedly in 1963, just as the Beatles were gaining widespread fame, Julian Lennon entered the world. His early life was enchanted with the glamour of his father's escalating celebrity. However, everything took a sharp turn following John's separation from Cynthia and his subsequent relationship with Yoko Ono, leading to a growing estrangement between father and son. This left young Julian in a cloud of bewilderment and unanswered queries. Nonetheless, music became his solace. Remarkably, the beloved Beatles' melody, Hey Jude, was crafted as a consoling note for Julian amidst his parents' divorce. In the 1970s, it was John who ignited Julian's passion for music, gifting him a guitar and teaching him fundamental chords. It seemed Julian was destined to follow in his father's musical footsteps. The expectations that came with being John Lennon's son were undoubtedly daunting, but Julian paved his own path. He ventured into singing and songwriting, explored acting and photography, and his 1984 debut album, Velotte, made a significant impact, securing a Grammy nomination for Best New Artist. Yet living under the vast influence of his father posed continuous challenges. Julian found it tough to replicate the success of his maiden album with subsequent releases. This struggle led him to take a break from the music scene, likely in pursuit of carving a distinct identity for himself beyond the comparisons. Upon his return, it was evident that Julian had grown not only in his music, but also in embracing a broader spectrum of interests. Julian channeled his bond with his father into his own philanthropic venture, the White Feather Foundation, which dedicates itself to ecological and humanitarian causes. In 2010, he shared a poignant slice of his life through the timeless photographic exhibition. This event was not just a display of his extensive Beatles memorabilia, but also a testament to his own artistic flair. Julian's narrative is a testament to his efforts to step out from the immense shadow of his father. He's wrestled with the distinct dilemmas that come with being the progeny of a Beatles member. Despite the odds, he's managed to blaze his own trail in creativity, a telling sign that the Lennon lineage is steeped in artistic vigor. To walk a path laid by a legend is far from simple, yet to uncover how one charts a course through such daunting territory is undeniably inspiring. Sean Ono Lennon. Sean Lennon, born on October 9, 1975 in New York City, emerges as a fascinating figure in the world of music and art, thriving under the colossal shadow of his iconic parents, John Lennon and Yoko Ono. His journey through creativity isn't just limited to music. It spans across a multitude of artistic expressions, including acting, filmmaking, and visual arts, showcasing a versatility that often mirrors his father's experimental spirit. and his mother's avant-garde inclinations. Growing up as the son of one of the most esteemed figures in rock history and a groundbreaking artist could be daunting for many. Yet, Sean has carved a unique path for himself, proving that while legacy can be influential, individuality reigns supreme in the end. His life began in the limelight. Born on his father's 35th birthday, Sean's arrival was embraced with immense joy by John, leading him to take a hiatus from the music world to focus on his young family. The tragic assassination of John Lennon in 1980, when Sean was merely a child, brought a profound change in his life, enveloping him in a protective world curated by his mother, Yoko. Despite the understandable effort to shield him from the intense public gaze, Sean's inclination toward music and the arts flourished. Yoko nurtured his talents, guiding him without overshadowing his personal creative voice. Sean's education at elite institutions like the Institut Le Rose in Switzerland and his later studies at Columbia University established a strong foundation in intellectual and creative pursuits. However, it was clear from the outset that his passion for music would guide his path. Early collaborations with his mother on albums like Onobox and Rising showcased his burgeoning talents, blending seamlessly with Yoko's avant-garde style. In 1998, Sean stepped into the spotlight with his debut solo album, Into the Sun, released under the avant-garde label Grand Royale. The album, produced by Beastie Boys' Adam Yauch, was a departure from any Beatles-esque sound, venturing instead into a melodic exploration of indie rock, psychedelia, and jazz. Critics applauded Sean for his willingness to experiment and his ability to craft an album that felt genuinely reflective of his own artistic voice rather than a mere echo of his lineage. Sean's musical journey didn't stop with his solo endeavors. He formed the band The Ghost of a Saber-Toothed Tiger with his partner Charlotte Kemp Moule, further experimenting with psychedelic rock and folk. His work with this group, particularly in albums like Midnight Sun, shows his adeptness at storytelling through music, weaving narratives that are at once ethereal and grounded. Beyond music, Sean has ventured into filmmaking and visual arts, contributing to the score for independent films and holding exhibitions showcasing his artistry beyond sound. His multidimensional approach to creativity speaks to an artist deeply invested in exploring all facets of expression, unafraid to meld genres and mediums. Sean's relationship with his heritage is complex and nuanced. While he acknowledges the influence of his parents on his work, he also strives to be seen as an individual artist. His collaborations with artists across different fields underscore his belief in the transformative power of creative partnerships. As Sean continues to evolve as an artist, it's evident that his journey is defined by exploration and a refusal to be bound by expectations. His body of work, marked by an undying curiosity and a deep respect for the art of storytelling, stands as a testament to his ability to navigate the pressures of legacy while forging a path distinctly his own. In essence, Sean Lennon exemplifies the modern artist, multidisciplinary, reflective, and perpetually in pursuit of the new. His artistry serves not only as a bridge between the past and the present, but also as a beacon for future generations of creatives, proving that identity is not merely inherited, but actively constructed. Through his dedication to his craft and his willingness to explore the unknown, Sean ensures that the spirit of innovation that defined his parents' work continues to inspire. Zack Starkey, embarking on a journey to define himself beyond the fame of his father, Zack Starkey was drawn irresistibly towards the world of drumming. The lure of rhythm was inescapable, especially with a father like Ringo Starr and a godfather as iconic as Keith Moon from The Who. Born into the heart of rock aristocracy in 1965, Ringo hoped to shield Zack from the intense pressures of the music scene. However, the pulse of drumming was too potent in Zack's veins. At the tender age of 8, receiving a drum kit from Keith Moon himself seemed like a preordained moment. It was an invitation that Zack, even at such a young age, felt compelled to accept. The magnetic draw of performing and the adrenaline of live audiences were too compelling to ignore. The dissolution of his parents' marriage marked a significant point in Zack's life, where his casual interest in drumming evolved into a dedicated pursuit. He honed his skills with bands like the Icicle Works and even took a seat in his dad's all-star ensemble, cementing his place among the ranks. However, it was stepping into Keith Moon's colossal footprint with The Who in the mid-90s that presented the ultimate challenge. Filling in for Moon after his passing was nothing short of monumental. The expectations from fans for not just technical prowess, but also the same vibrant energy were sky high. Zack rose to this formidable challenge with distinction, earning not just the band's acceptance but also winning over die-hard Who aficionados. Stepping into the shoes of a drumming legend is daunting, to say the least, but Zack managed to pay homage to Keith Moon's monumental legacy, while also igniting the stage with his unique dynamism. Zack Starkey's journey didn't halt at his early accomplishments. With the innate flair of a true rock star, he expanded his horizons, touring alongside Pete Townshend and Roger Daltrey, taking up the role of drummer for Oasis for a period and collaborating with rock legends such as Johnny Marr. The Beatles' musical lineage didn't end with Zack. In 1985, he and his wife Shana welcomed Tasha, the first grandchild of a Beatle, into the world. True to form, Tasha embraced the family's rich musical heritage, becoming a talented musician herself. The gatherings of the Starkey family must indeed resonate with musical brilliance. Zack's narrative underscores that while talent can run in the family, the essence lies in refining those innate abilities and bravely carving out your own niche in the vast world of music. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. Jason Starkey. While Zack Starkey embraced life in the limelight, his younger brother Jason had a contrasting journey. The experience of growing up under the immense legacy of a Beatle was a mixed fortune, and for Jason Starkey it often felt more burdensome than beneficial. Born in 1967 as the second son to Ringo Starr and Maureen Starkey, Jason's upbringing was immersed in a world filled with music, fame, and extraordinary privileges. However, the dissolution of his parents' marriage introduced a period of turmoil. At the tender age of 7, amidst their divorce, Jason found himself floundering, resorting to rebellion as a means of expression. This turmoil manifested in engaging in minor criminal activities and clashes with the law, a stark contrast to the illustrious rock star persona associated with his father. This phase of Jason's life highlighted the struggles of grappling with familial expectations while dealing with the amplified strains of carrying a globally recognized surname during his adolescent years. In 1987, Jason faced legal consequences when he attempted to steal a car radio, marking the beginning of a series of run-ins with the law, including notable drug charges in subsequent years. However, the ties of family and the inherent rhythm within him couldn't be ignored. Despite life's upheavals, Jason was inexorably drawn to music, taking up the drums and occasionally performing in bands with his brother Zack. This could have been his moment to shine musically, to carve out his own space in the industry alongside his sibling. Yet the spotlight, along with the inevitable comparisons, seemed to aggravate his discontent rather than alleviate it. Jason once candidly acknowledged the difficulties of living up to his father's fame, describing it as a total pain and a significant hindrance in his life. In an unexpected turn, he chose to step back from the fame, seeking satisfaction as a road manager and drummer for bands away from the intense scrutiny of the public eye. Opting out of the limelight, in stark contrast to the legacy that defined his family, may appear to some as evasion. However, it could also be viewed as Jason's means of asserting independence, carving a unique path amidst the frenetic pace of stadium gigs and fervent Beatlemania. His life took a turn towards stability when he married Flora Evans, a fashion designer, in 2010, with whom he had 3 sons. This semblance of normality, perhaps elusive during his younger days, signaled a newfound peace. Having a celebrity parent doesn't mandate walking the same path. Often, finding contentment on your own terms represents the greatest act of defiance. Mary McCartney. Mary McCartney made her first appearance in 1969, a time that coincided remarkably with her cameo on the back cover of her father Paul's solo record, McCartney, Snuggled Within His Jacket. Linda's evocative photography of this scene subtly hinted at Mary's future endeavors in the arts. Deeply shaped by Linda, Paul McCartney's cherished spouse, an artist, a photographer of discerning talent, and a staunch voice for animal rights and vegetarianism, Mary absorbed these influences wholeheartedly. She cultivated her own photographic talent and carved out a distinguished career with her striking portraits and stylish fashion shoots adorning magazines and galleries. Following in her mother's creative footsteps, Mary was driven by an unrestrained creative spirit. She ventured into the domain of film, crafting the documentary Wingspan in 2001, which delved into the narrative of Wings, the band her parents had founded. It was a deeply personal undertaking, with Mary conducting the interview with her father Paul, infusing the documentary with a heartfelt depth. Tragedy struck when Linda succumbed to breast cancer in 1998, but Mary found solace and purpose in carrying forward her mother's values. She paid homage to Linda through her culinary authorship, publishing several vegetarian cookbooks that celebrated and perpetuated her mother's culinary philosophy and unconditional love for life. Currently, Mary extends her expertise within her father's enterprise, MPL Communications, contributing to their imagery division. This perfectly illustrates how the combination of inherent talent and a commitment to perfecting one's skills can lead to noteworthy engagements, even within a family's enterprise. In a nod to her mother Linda's dedication to kinship, Mary embraced motherhood, bestowing upon Paul his inaugural grandchild Arthur in 1999, and subsequently welcoming a second son, Elliot. Though her union with the filmmaker Alistair Donald concluded in a separation, Mary's heart found its match anew with the filmmaker Simon Aboud. Together, they've cultivated their own family unit, complete with 2 additional children. Navigating the complexities of having 2 renowned and artistically driven parents, Mary has effectively sculpted an individualistic and respected path for herself. Stella McCartney. Choosing a different path from her elder sister Mary, Stella opted to forge her own unique journey. Born in 1971, her infancy intertwined with the dynamic lifestyle of her parents' band, Wings, with her entry into the world inspiring the group's name. Due to the dramatic circumstances of her birth, via an emergency C-section, this spirited beginning seemed to foreshadow Stella's penchant for trailblazing. While she indeed inherited her parents' creative flair, her artistic inclinations directed her towards fashion rather than music. With an early fascination for attire coupled with the supportive backdrop provided by her parents, Stella pursued her aspirations with zeal. Stella's ascension in the fashion realm was nothing short of remarkable. She fine-tuned her expertise and in 2001 launched her eponymous label. Her creations, known for their bold and contemporary feel, quickly garnered the admiration of celebrities like Kate Moss and caught the eye of fashion enthusiasts across the globe. Today, Stella McCartney boutiques are a fixture in major cities worldwide, standing as a testament to her unmistakable prowess. However, Stella's impact stretches beyond the realms of high fashion. She's a vanguard for sustainability and ethical fashion, demonstrating that luxury and ecological mindfulness can go hand in hand. Her commitment was recognized on a grand scale when in 2012 she was tasked with designing the kit for the British athletes competing in the Olympics, with her being appointed an officer of the Order of the British Empire in recognition of her contributions the following year. Yet despite her monumental achievements, Stella remains down to earth. A mother to 4 children, she maintains a touch of the familial rebelliousness humorously highlighted by her choice of attire during her father's induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rather than merely being Paul's daughter, Stella McCartney has solidified her own legacy, proving through her journey that even those born from legendary lineage can carve out significant individual legacies. Stella's story is a powerful narrative of grit, innovation, and challenging the status quo, illustrating that the descendants of icons can indeed leave their own indelible mark on the world. Beatrice McCartney. Contrast to her elder siblings who left indelible marks on the fields of creativity, Paul McCartney's youngest daughter, Beatrice McCartney, tunes into a different rhythm. Born in 2003, amidst a distinct phase of her father's life, during his marriage to Heather Mills, Beatrice's entry into the world was during a time when Paul was navigating through older parenthood and a subsequent complex family dynamic. Given these circumstances, Beatrice's upbringing starkly diverges from that of her half-siblings, perhaps providing the serenity she needed amidst the eventual discordant end of her parents' marriage, though custody remains jointly shared. It appears the McCartney musical legacy continues subtly through Beatrice, as she has reportedly taken up the saxophone. Yet it's clear her interests venture beyond the realms traditionally associated with her family name. Unmoved by the potential draw of the entertainment industry or the scrutiny of public attention, Beatrice is plotting a distinct trajectory. The call of the sea, rather than the call of the stage, captures her imagination, with marine biology emerging as her passion, demonstrating a serene deviation from the expected McCartney fame path. This departure from the expected route showcases a refreshing evolution of the McCartney legacy, illustrating the youngest member's journey of personal discovery, diverging from the pressures of familial legacy. While her pathway is more subdued, it stands as a testament to the possibility of redefining one's identity beyond the shadows of familial achievement. Whether Beatrice will make her name as a distinguished marine biologist or perhaps eventually merge her talents with the family's musical traditions remains to be seen. Nonetheless, the freedom she experiences to explore her future away from the spotlight could very well be the most liberating inheritance afforded to a child of Beatles lineage. Lee Starkey. Lee Starkey's introduction to the world came at a time of tumult, arriving in 1970 during the highly publicized dissolution of the Beatles and the breakdown of her parents' marriage. Her beginnings were certainly challenging. Despite this, as a child, Lee showed an inclination towards the spotlight, and in 1989 she dipped her toes into public recognition with an appearance next to her father, Ringo Starr, in an Oldsmobile commercial. Lee had an affinity for the world of fashion, leading her to establish Planet Alice, a fashion boutique in Los Angeles, which celebrated the vivid styles of the 1960s. The store made an impact but didn't last, prompting Lee to venture into fashion design and makeup artistry. However, Lee's challenges persisted when, a year after the sad loss of her mother Maureen to leukemia, she was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 1994, facing down the dire situation with surgery and radiation. Her resilience manifested another test in 2001 when the tumor returned, subjecting her to further medical intervention. Her incredible fortitude in the face of adversity is nothing short of inspirational. Lee's essence, against such odds, glows radiantly. She found love with Jay Miller, the bassist for the band Caban, and she often attends her brother's concerts as well as those of her half-sister, Stella McCartney, a testament to the enduring strength of family ties. Her life took a striking turn when she became a mother to triplets in 2009, the first such occurrence within the Beatles' extended clan. This new role may have granted her the affection and anchoring she sought throughout her early years. Lee's life recounts a tale of confronting the unexpected, overcoming it with valor, and coming through stronger. Growing up in the shadow of a musical icon could have been a daunting barrier, yet Lee charted her own path, confronting health struggles with indomitable spirit, and emerged with a tale of perseverance and strength. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. Dhani Harrison. Dhani Harrison, the lone offspring of George, arrived into the world in 1978, bearing a name inspired by George's reverence for Indian spirituality, a homage to the sounds of the Indian musical scale. Dhani, inheriting the musical aptitudes of his father, pursued a career in music. Amidst a heartbreaking turn of events, he contributed to completing George's last work, Brainwashed, following George's death in 2001. Performing alongside George's old bandmates, Ringo and Paul, Dhani actively perpetuates the Harrison musical lineage. For Dhani, his realization about his father's illustrious past was carefully veiled behind the neatly cultivated surroundings of their Friar Park home. Instead of spending his youth on tour buses or among throngs of adoring fans, Dhani's father was simply a master gardener in his eyes. In an attempt to grant Dhani an ordinary childhood away from the spotlight, George dedicated his time to nurturing roses rather than tunes. For the first 7 years of his life, Dhani was blissfully unaware of his dad's true vocation, solely perceiving him as a remarkably skilled horticulturist. The bubble eventually burst in a fashion that no child could ever anticipate. Being pursued by peers belting out Yellow Submarine, a surreal experience, especially when your own father is part of the legend behind the song. This prompted a unique familial discussion, with George admitting with his characteristic calm that perhaps an earlier introduction to the Beatles might have been prudent. Dhani's relationship with his father is reflected in the way he accepted this later-than-usual revelation without sour feelings. George's intent to furnish a tranquil and ordinary upbringing underlines the type of father he strove to be. In a sense, Dhani experienced the best of both worlds, the liberty to grow up without immediate pressure, a chance to cultivate personal interests before grappling with the immense scope of his father's fame. This secluded beginning indeed molded him, strongly influencing his approach to music, and when the moment arrived to embrace his heritage, Dhani did so on his individual terms. And inevitably, the familial resemblance to his father, that Beatle essence, is distinct and unmistakable. The serene life Dhani Harrison knew was transformed once he fully grasped the vastness of George Harrison's stardom, a revelation that would deeply affect any child, particularly one brought up in such a deliberately protected environment. However, this shielded upbringing perhaps allowed Dhani to more fully accept and step into the musical inheritance that was his birthright. Initially, with some reservation, he played a pivotal role in completing his father's album, Brainwashed, a process that, while steeped in mourning, offered him invaluable insights and growth. He later expressed gratitude to those who guided him through this poignant period, illustrating how even within sorrow, new pathways can emerge. This experience marked the beginning of Dhani's own musical ventures, forming bands and later introducing solo projects. Despite the inevitable association with his father, Dhani has infused his music with a contemporary twist distinctly his own. His works incorporate electronic nuances, a direction George never ventured into, alongside lyrics that reflect the social awareness of Dhani's era. This blend of honoring his roots while forging his unique path showcases the dual nature of his musical journey. On stage, the physical likeness to his father George is undeniable, but Dhani asserts his individual artistic identity with audacity. This tightrope walk is one many offspring of celebrated figures face, reaping the benefits of access and guidance in honing their craft, simultaneously navigating the hefty expectations set upon them. While critics draw comparisons and fans meticulously examine his every move, the sheer pressure to excel can seem overwhelming. Yet Dhani approaches this journey with a mix of finesse and resilience. His creations respect his lineage, yet aren't mere reflections of his father's legacy. He transforms the core elements of his musical heritage into something both recognizably Harrison and intriguingly novel, George Harrison's relationships. Dhani is not merely establishing his unique musical identity, he's also the bearer of a legacy ignited by his father, George, many years ago. George's journey, however, was one of intricate relationships that have significantly influenced Dhani's life. Before Dhani came into the world, there was Pattie Boyd, George's inaugural wife and muse. Their relationship, characterized by unfaithfulness and disparate spiritual pursuits, culminated in a divorce. Despite the anguish of their separation, it acted as a muse for George, prompting some of his most celebrated compositions. Subsequently, Olivia Arias entered George's life, embarking on a passionate love story that led to Dhani's arrival and their marriage shortly thereafter. Olivia was George's haven, their connection proving profoundly steadfast. For over 20 years, they nurtured Dhani in the idyllic setting of Friar Park, until George's untimely demise due to cancer in 2001. Following George's departure, Olivia has been an unwavering custodian of his legacy, actively involved in producing documentaries and managing the re-release of his tunes, thereby ensuring George's eternal presence in music lore. However, a recent revelation from Olivia suggests an even more intriguing aspect of George's legacy: incomplete musical compositions. George reportedly left behind fragments of songs, essentially blueprints of potential masterpieces. This disclosure has ignited passionate discussions. Should these sketches be fully realized and shared with the world? While fans yearn for more of George's enchantment, some purists contend that such an act would be against George's wishes. Olivia, poised and ready to progress, hints at the possibility of Dhani playing a role in breathing life into these nascent works. This presents an enthralling yet morally intricate scenario. On one side, finishing these works could present us with a concluding chapter to George's musical sagas. But on the flip side, it might infringe upon his creative sovereignty. It raises a crucial question. Would George have wished for these embryonic ideas to emerge into publicity? Indeed, posthumous releases aren't groundbreaking, invariably sparking a debate between the motives of preservation versus commercial gain. However, George's situation is distinct due to Olivia, not just as his widow, but as Dhani's mother. This dynamic means the endeavor transcends mere homage. It offers Dhani a unique opportunity to intertwine his musical fate with his father's legacy. It was Dhani himself who appeared to validate the tales of these unfinished musical treasures. Though he remained tight-lipped about the specifics, his acknowledgement stirred a vehement response within the Beatles community. Understandably, a faction of fans felt dismayed. They regard George's discography as sacrosanct, and the notion of altering his final works seems to them an affront to his craftsmanship. They argue that George should maintain ultimate control over his oeuvre, even posthumously. Conversely, there's the perspective that Olivia and Dhani, who are more than just his kin, but keepers of his creative spirit, might possess the insight to transform these nascent melodies into tributes that capture George's essence. Given their close bond and deep understanding of his artistic ethos, perhaps our faith in their judgment could be warranted. The moral intricacies of releasing music after an artist has passed away can often be opaque. Fans voice concerns over exploitation and the potential distortion of an artist's enduring memory, even when such endeavors are approached with the best intentions. The crucial question stands: can these adapted compositions ever genuinely encapsulate the enchantment George aimed for? Will they resonate with the essence of George that fans so deeply cherish? Dhani assures that any refinements made to his father's work would be carried out with the utmost reverence, but such assurances cannot wholly quell the ensuing debate. This extends far beyond the realm of mere technical adjustments or appeasing enthusiasts. It touches upon the very core of George's musical heritage and who bears the right to define its ultimate narrative. The progeny of the Beatles have, each in their own way, embraced the creative mantle. Whether it's Julian Lennon forging his identity amidst a towering legacy, Sean "Ono" Lennon collaborating with his mother, or the varied artistic ventures of Paul and Ringo's children, it's evident that the Beatles' artistic legacy lives on through them. They perpetuate it, each adding a personal nuance, with some taking a more direct musical route, others drawing new pathways in their creative quests. The perennial challenge they face is balancing reverence for the past with the cultivation of their original contributions. What are your thoughts? Do you believe George's unfinished music ought to be shared with the world, or should it remain as he left it in its unaltered state? If you think the music should be completed and released, share your yes in the comment section. If not, voice your no. And if you found this exploration into the lives of the Beatles' descendants compelling, don't forget to show your appreciation. Subscribe to Iconic and turn on those notifications to stay updated on our latest content. The one and only wife of Bruce Lee, what happened to her? Get ready to dive into the unseen saga of Linda Lee Cadwell, the only wife of martial arts legend Bruce Lee. Imagine marrying your dream, only to encounter a twist of fate that leaves the world in awe. From a love story that defies the odds to unspeakable tragedies and disputes that could rival any blockbuster drama, Linda's life is nothing short of a roller coaster. But what really lurks behind the headlines? Stay tuned as we unfold the breathtaking journey of the woman who stood by Bruce Lee. You won't believe what happened to her. Linda Lee Cadwell, widow to the iconic Bruce Lee, has led an inspiring life as a martial artist, author, educator, and supporter of charitable causes. During the 9 years she spent alongside Bruce Lee, Linda recounted their time together as an extraordinary journey she will forever cherish. Linda Lee Cadwell, born March 21st, 1945, in Everett, Washington, faced hardship early on with her father's death at age 5. Her family relocated to Seattle, where she grew up with her sister under their mother's care. With a mixed heritage of Swedish, Irish, and English, she has remarkable beauty and grace. She completed high school and pursued higher education at the University of Washington to become a teacher. As Bruce Lee's widow, she bravely cared for their 2 young children after his sudden passing. Linda met Bruce Lee at the University of Washington in 1963 when he demonstrated gung fu in her class. She began taking lessons from him, and they quickly fell in love. They married on August 17, 1964, when Linda was 19 and close to finishing her degree. Reflecting on her life shared with the esteemed martial artist, Linda remarked, "He was dynamic. From the very first moment I met him, I thought, this guy is something else." After marrying, Linda and Bruce Lee moved to California, where Bruce developed his martial arts philosophy, Jeet Kune Do, and opened 3 schools. He also began acting, landing a role as Kato in the TV series The Green Hornet. Although the show was short-lived, Lee's performance left a lasting impact. He went on to appear in other TV shows and films, including Marlowe, 1969, where he played a villainous role. Despite his talent, Lee faced barriers as an Asian American in Hollywood, often being typecast. In 1971, the Lee family, including their 2 children, Brandon and Shannon, relocated to Hong Kong in search of new opportunities. This move marked a significant turning point in Bruce Lee's career, as he would go on to achieve international stardom in Hong Kong's film industry. At that juncture, they were unaware Bruce Lee would become a transformative figure in how martial arts were perceived globally. Upon their return to Hong Kong, Lee quickly secured a deal for 2 movies and released what is known to US audiences as Fists of Fury towards the end of 1971. The film, portraying Lee as a martial artist avenging his master's death, might not have had an original plot, but it was Lee's portrayal and execution that stood out, making the difference. He merged the fluid Jeet Kune Do techniques he instructed in his academies with the exaggerated, forceful styles he showcased as Kato. Through his elegant, dance-like movements, charismatic appearance, humor and acting prowess, Lee was in his element, unmistakably positioned for stardom. Fists of Fury not only smashed box office records in Hong Kong, but was also surpassed by his subsequent release, The Chinese Connection, in 1972. Lee went on to form his production company, Concord Pictures, and took up directing. The first movie under this venture, known in the US as Way of the Dragon, demonstrated Lee's ambition not just to be seen as a performer, but as a creator. With any luck, I hope to make the kind of movie where you can just watch the surface story if you like, or can look deeper into it. Tragically, Lee's journey as an artist was cut short. On July 20th, 1973, only weeks before the US release of his 4th movie, Enter the Dragon, he met with an untimely death, leaving his family, especially his wife Linda Lee, and admirers in a state of disbelief. At the youthful age of 32, just as his career was cresting, Lee succumbed to a cerebral edema. The circumstances surrounding Lee's demise were wrought with debate. Officially, brain swelling triggered by an adverse reaction to an aspirin he took for a back injury was listed as the cause of death. However, the abruptness of his passing, paired with his young age, robust health, and the uncanny coincidental timing as he stood on the brink of global fame, gave rise to conspiracy theories that he had been assassinated. There were whispers that he had displeased the Chinese mafia or other influential entities within the Hong Kong film circle, and had been poisoned as a result. Lee had always been haunted by a premonition of his premature demise, causing some to speculate that he was under some kind of sinister curse. Myth and hearsay even had it that when Lee purchased a home in Hong Kong not long before his passing, he had inadvertently invoked the fury of spiritual entities believed to dwell in that neighborhood. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. The legend of the curse purports it would affect 3 generations. This unsettling idea of a curse was further reinforced on June 18, 1993. Barely over a month before the 20th commemoration of Lee's passing, when his son, Brandon Lee, met his end under bizarre circumstances. During the filming of The Crow, he was fatally wounded by a firearm that was supposed to be loaded with blanks, yet inexplicably contained a live round. Brandon, much like his father, was on the cusp of significant success. Lee's immense contributions have left an enduring impact on the film industry, essentially pioneering a novel form of cinematic expression. By the 1990s, Enter the Dragon alone had amassed over $100 million in revenue, with Lee's influence permeating the styles of many action stars in Hollywood. In 1993, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, a film directed by Rob Cohen and starring Jason Scott Lee as Bruce Lee, hit the screens. Lauren Holly portrayed Linda Lee and through the film developed a friendship with Lee's daughter, Shannon. Linda exemplifies true resilience and strength, embodying the spirit of turning adversity into opportunity. Left to fend for herself and her 2 children, Linda had no choice but to liquidate her assets to survive. Her romantic life after Bruce has seen its ups and downs, with Linda entering into several marriages. In 1988, she wed Tom Bleecker, but their union was not meant to last forever. Their marriage ended in a divorce after 2 years, stirring the media into a frenzy with various speculations about Linda's personal life. Following her separation from Bleecker, Linda found love again and married Bruce Cadwell in 1991, eventually settling down in Southern California. At the time, Cadwell was working as a stockbroker. Presently, the couple enjoys retirement, spending their days golfing and traveling together. Linda's journey as Bruce Lee's widow has been the subject of much speculation, including questions about her well-being, such as, "Is Linda Lee Cadwell still alive?" Indeed, Linda is alive and currently resides in Boise, Idaho with her husband Bruce Cadwell. She is a pivotal figure in the Bruce Lee Foundation, sharing leadership duties with her daughter Shannon. As of 2021, Linda Lee Cadwell's net worth is valued at approximately $12 million. The bulk of her income stems from her accomplished career as an author, with her book, Bruce Lee, The Man Only I Knew, standing out as a bestseller. Additionally, the inheritance from Bruce Lee's estate has significantly contributed to her wealth, as she stepped in to continue her late husband's legacy. These days, Linda Lee Cadwell enjoys a tranquil life in the countryside, having delegated the management of the estate to her daughter. Cadwell occasionally volunteers at the foundation, yet nearly 5 decades since Bruce Lee's unfortunate departure, his legacy endures, immortalized as a cultural symbol of Hong Kong, a martial arts luminary and a philosopher whose teachings remain a source of motivation, connecting individuals from various backgrounds and cultures worldwide. Nonetheless, Linda Lee and her daughter Shannon Lee have historically encountered difficulties in their relationship with Bruce Lee's siblings. Both factions of the family have typically undertaken separate endeavors to honor Bruce's memory. The limited interactions that have occurred have more often been mediated through emails and attorneys' letters, rather than through affectionate phone conversations and familial get-togethers. The estrangement within the Lee family is widely acknowledged. Geographical separation plays a role, with family members residing in disparate regions of the United States. Cultural discrepancies further accentuate the divide, with Lee's siblings upholding traditional Chinese values, while Shannon and Cadwell, who has been married 2 additional times since Bruce, are thoroughly Americanized. Shannon has remarked, "We are not on bad terms," clarifying, "We just don't communicate very often." At the heart of the family rift lies the valuable rights to Bruce's name, likeness, and body of work. The issue of ownership rights has consistently preoccupied the Lee family in the wake of Bruce's passing from sudden cerebral edema. According to records from the California Secretary of State's office in 1985, Cadwell, along with Bruce's now-deceased son Brandon and daughter Shannon, laid claim as successors in interest to a deceased personality's rights under California Code Section 3344.1. This legal provision safeguards the commercial rights associated with the name, voice, signature, photograph, or likeness of a deceased individual who held monetary value in these at the time of their death for the use of their immediate family, namely the surviving spouse, children, grandchildren, or surviving parents or grandparents. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. According to public documentation, Cadwell laid claim to 50% of all types of rights that belonged to Lee as his surviving partner, utilizing the name Linda Lee. Brandon and Shannon were each entitled to 25% of these rights as Lee's offspring. Shannon was merely 4 years old when Bruce passed away. The Bruce Lee Foundation, initiated in 2002, serves as a charitable organization dedicated to perpetuating Bruce's legacy, with Shannon acting as the president and Linda Lee Cadwell presiding as the chair. During the production of Bruce Lee, My Brother by Bruce Lee's biological siblings, Robert Lee and his 2 sisters, they encountered legal challenges. Prior to the film's release in 2010, they received correspondence from Shannon's attorney pointing out that they lacked the authorization to utilize Bruce Lee's imagery or likeness, given that such rights are managed by the Bruce Lee Foundation. In response to inquiries about the incident, Robert mentioned his attempt to engage Shannon by sharing details about the investors, only to find out, then she didn't want to work with me. She wanted the whole deal to herself. He added, "We don't talk as much as I would like to. They don't want to collaborate with us. We are one family, there is no reason why we shouldn't collaborate. We share different parts of Bruce's life." In an additional instance, emblematic of the familial discord, the Bruce Lee Club of Hong Kong, with Phoebe and Robert as honorary chairs, amassed funds for the renowned statue of Bruce on the Avenue of Stars in Tsim Sha Tsui in 2005. They extended an invitation to Shannon, who opted out of participating. Robert clarified, "I'm not trying to take over the Bruce Lee empire," going on to express, "I will soon be in my late 60s and semi-retired. I'm not interested in pursuing anything. If they think I'm trying to make money, I haven't done except for from the movie. He disclosed that the pair of books he authored about Bruce, one in Chinese and another in Japanese, only saw modest sales, with 1,000 copies each. Robert shared, "Our family was never sued but received threatening cease and desist letters from Linda's ex-attorney. I stopped talking to Linda." Clarence Lee, another of Bruce Lee's siblings residing between Macau and Hong Kong, voiced a sentiment relevant not just to their own family. To speak through lawyers is kind of wrong. He recounted his father and aunt's desire to connect with fans curious about Bruce's early life, while reminiscing about a past where the family was more united, rallying around each other at the time of Bruce's passing, despite Bruce's siblings being in the United States when they received the news. Phoebe migrated to the US 43 years earlier with her American-born Chinese spouse. At the time of Bruce's death, Robert was in the US but made his way back to Hong Kong in 1975 to advance his music career. The death of Bruce's mother in 1996, a sorrow accented by Brandon's tragic demise on a film set 3 years prior, saw a then 27-year-old Shannon not in attendance at the funeral. Robert stated, "Shannon and Cadwell did not visit Mother during her last months, and they did not attend her funeral." Bruce's siblings have noted a stark contrast between the unity their family used to have and the fractured relations of today. Phoebe, Bruce's elder sister by 2 years, illuminated her cherished brother Bruce as someone who held family in the highest regard. She fondly recollected the joy experienced by their father, the respected Cantonese opera performer Lee Hoi-chuen, upon learning about Brandon's birth in the US, noting he was very happy because it was the first grandchild and a son. You know what a son means in Chinese tradition. Merely a week later, Lee Hoi-chuen died in his sleep, prompting Bruce to hurry back from California for the funeral rites. Phoebe recounted how heartbroken Bruce was not to have had a chance for a final in-person farewell to their father. He walked on his knees from the outside to the altar. He was in tears, and I said to him, "Don't cry, brother," she remembered. Regarding her present relationship with Shannon and Cadwell, Phoebe is hesitant to comment. She mentioned her limited communication with Cadwell, attributing it to her limited proficiency in English. Nevertheless, she expressed a longing for reconciliation. "I just wish one day things would work out. I hope all this can be resolved before my 2 sisters and I die," she expressed her hope. Phoebe's plea was clear: let's tear the wall down. In the saga of Linda Lee Cadwell, we've witnessed a tale of love, loss, and enduring legacy. This journey reminds us that behind every legend, there's a human story, one of courage, love, and strength. What's your take on her extraordinary life? Share with us, drop a 9 out in the comments to show your admiration for Linda's remarkable resilience. And if you're moved by the stories of legends and the people behind them, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to Iconic Inside for more riveting content. Engage, interact, and become part of our iconic community. ABBA tragically ended after this happened. Imagine in the blink of an eye the world's beloved ABBA, the masters behind some of the most unforgettable hits, facing a twist that would change everything. Yes, you heard it right. In today's explosive episode, we're unraveling the shocking event that brought the dazzling journey of ABBA to a sudden, heartbreaking halt. Think you know the whole story? Think again. Stay tuned as we dive deep into the moment that tragically ended the era of glitz, glam, and groundbreaking music. This is ABBA tragically ended after this happened. You won't believe what we've uncovered. Starting an internationally acclaimed band by accident isn't something many can say they've done, but Benny Andersson was an exception. At a mere 18, he became a member of the Hep Stars, dubbed the Swedish Beatles. Björn Ulvaeus, on the other hand, was part of the Hootenanny Singers. Their paths crossed, and a friendship formed, leading them to collaborate on an album. Their journey took a turn when they vacationed in Cyprus with their girlfriends, Annie Fridlingstad and Agnetha Faltskog. The trip was light-hearted, with both women joining in to provide backup vocals. The real magic happened during a live performance for United Nations soldiers stationed on the island. It was there, in Cyprus, that they discovered the quartet's unique chemistry. Their debut single, titled Hey Old Man, was inspired by a Salvation Army soldier they encountered on the island. As the newly formed ensemble contemplated a suitable moniker, They initially adopted festfolk, translating to party people in Swedish. However, the quest for a permanent name led them to involve the public through a contest advertised in a local newspaper. Among the suggestions were names like Alibaba, Fab, and Baba. Ultimately, the group took inspiration from these ideas and settled on ABBA, an acronym formed from the initial letters of each member's first name: Agnetha, Bjorn, Benny, and Annifrid. Choosing this name, however, required overcoming some legal hurdles. Interestingly, a Swedish seafood company named ABBA Seafood Company, not stylized in all capitals, that had been established in the 1800s, already carried a similar name. The band had to engage in negotiations to secure the rights to use the name. On another note, while flashy attire might be synonymous with American fashion in the 1970s and 1980s, ABBA was already making waves with their distinctive wardrobe choices, proving their flair for the dramatic and eye-catching. Their iconic status was significantly bolstered by O. Sandström, who juggled roles between being a zoology teacher during the day and a costume designer by night. Sandström's entree to the group came through Frida, whom he encountered in a theatre company they were both a part of. Soon after, they enlisted him to craft their stage costumes. He drew inspiration from a plethora of sources, ranging from the mesmerizing aurora borealis to the dynamic flair of flamenco dancers. Intriguingly, the choice of bold colors, extravagant patterns, glitter, and layered outfits served a pragmatic purpose beyond aesthetics. Due to a Swedish tax regulation, clothes that were deemed too eccentric for daily wear and designated solely for performance purposes qualified as tax deductible. This legal loophole encouraged the band and Sandström to continue producing these spectacular ensembles. And produce they did, creating around 500 of these dazzling outfits. There's always a first for everything. Ever since its inception in 1956, Europeans have turned up their speakers for Eurovision, a song contest designed to unify the continent following the devastations of war. The competition saw its share of habitual victors and unexpected triumphs, but Sweden had yet to seize the spotlight. That all changed with the arrival of ABBA, clad in dazzling attire, at the 1974 contest, where they performed their smash hit, Waterloo. This track wasn't just any song, it was the leading single from their second album and the very first song they released after adopting the name ABBA. Winning Eurovision catapulted them to global fame. Moreover, they set a precedent by being the first group from a non-English-speaking nation to consistently hit #1 in Anglophone countries with their English-language songs. The allure of ABBA took a bit longer to ignite in America, but their momentum started building with their inaugural American television appearance on The Mike Douglas Show. A year on, the soon-to-be superstars graced the stage of the then burgeoning comedy series Saturday Night Live, and so the showbiz excitement kicked off. This exceptional vocal ensemble from Sweden eventually climbed to the top spot, breaking through a market that, save for acts from the British invasion, seemed impenetrable for international bands. ABBA, despite their global fame, initially struggled to dominate the American charts, peaking only at number 14. Their breakthrough moment in the United States came much later, in 2008, reaching the #1 position, largely thanks to the release of the Mamma Mia film starring Meryl Streep. ABBA's appeal knows no borders, transcending geographical and cultural constraints. While Dancing Queen might as well be considered a universal anthem, it's money, money, money that becomes ironic given their situation. Fans spanned the globe, including in the Soviet Union, where ABBA's music was immensely popular. However, due to embargoes that restricted financial transactions with certain currencies, the band faced a unique challenge. They couldn't be paid in rubles, or what's colloquially referred to as Russian dollars. Their innovative solution? They agreed to receive compensation through royalty payments derived from the Soviet Union's oil commodities. It's a scenario so intriguing, it might just pique the interest of Blake Carrington himself, because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos. Please comment OK if you find this video interesting, thank you. Annifrid, known for her role in ABBA and as a vocal advocate for the environment, carries a past deeply marked by conflict. She was born amidst the turmoil of World War II, a time when Nazi Germany had occupied Norway. During this period, relationships between German officers and Norwegian women were not uncommon, sometimes even encouraged by the German government in pursuit of creating more idealized offspring. Annie Frid, born in 1945, was the result of one such union, her father being a German sergeant. Children born from these unions were derogatorily called Tyskerbarnes, or German children. For Frida and her mother, the post-war period brought no respite, as the newly liberated Norwegian government took measures against them. They faced not just societal exclusion, but also threats of being placed in internment camps. Consequently, Frida and her family were compelled to leave Norway due to the unwelcoming and dangerous environment. In search of safety, Frida and her family sought refuge in Sweden, away from the ongoing persecution faced by those who remained. Tragically, both Frida's mother and grandmother passed away without witnessing her rise to stardom. For years, Frida believed her father, whom she had never known, was dead. However, upon discovering he was alive, Benny Andersson was instrumental in arranging a meeting between the two, a reunion filled with overwhelming emotions. The encounter proved challenging for Frida. The years had built a barrier that prevented her from offering the unconditional love of a daughter to her father, plunging her into a profound depression. Nevertheless, this period of turmoil also stirred in her a determination to champion the cause of Norwegian war children, aiding them in overcoming the stigma attached to their birth. The love story of ABBA's members is a classic tale of romance intertwined with music. Initially, their collaboration sprouted from their personal relationships, with Benny Andersson pairing up with Anni-Frid Lyngstad and Bjorn Ulvaeus exchanging vows with Agnetha Fältskog. It seemed as though they were destined for lifelong partnerships. Unfortunately, the fairy tale endings weren't meant to be. Reflecting on his separation, Bjorn described the process as notably tranquil. He shared insights into their mutual decision, stating, "In many ways, Agnetha and my divorce was an amicable one. We just grew apart and decided, let's split up." Interestingly, Knowing Me, Knowing You was penned in the shadow of their impending divorce, serving as a prophetic nod to their eventual parting. Their official split came in 1980, yet Agnetha continued to perform the song without hesitation. Following this, Bjorn wrote, "The Winner Takes It All," a candid exploration of divorce, further cementing their personal experiences into their music. The dissolution of Benny and Anni-Frid's marriage contrasted starkly with Bjorn's account, which he deemed as creatively stimulating yet overshadowed by unhappiness, leading to their breakup in 1981. Despite the romantic relationships within the band dissolving, the members of ABBA attempted to maintain the integrity of the group. However, despite their efforts and relatively amicable separations, Agnetha later remarked that the band's concluding years were fraught with misery. This discomfort and unhappiness led to ABBA's ultimate disbandment in 1982. In the years that followed, the allure of ABBA continued to captivate fans worldwide, sparking endless speculation about a potential reunion. Nevertheless, these rumors were often quickly dispelled, primarily due to Agnetha's perceived reluctance. Known for her reclusive tendencies, Agnetha's aversion to crowds, loud noises, airplanes, and vast open spaces was frequently cited as a significant barrier to any form of reunion. Moreover, she enjoyed considerable success as a solo artist, further cementing her status as a fan favorite and raising questions about her interest in reuniting the band. The premiere of Mamma Mia in 2008 didn't exactly see Agnetha jumping to re-engage with the celebratory gatherings. Though all members were present at the event, they appeared separately, maintaining their distances, especially when photographers sought to capture them together on a balcony, with Agnetha notably keeping to herself. She has expressed her disliking for the Greta Garbo 2 inches moniker, emphasizing her desire for a serene and undisturbed existence because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos. Please comment "OK" if you find this video interesting, thank you. However, in a turn that delighted fans, 2016 became the year Frida and Agnetha performed The Way Old Friends Do, with Benny and Bjorn joining them towards the end. This reunion reignited sparks and led the group back into the studio to work on new music, along with preparing for a digital tour featuring avatars of the band members, a move hailed as brilliant. Originally, the announcement promised 2 new songs by 2020, but unexpected delays pushed the release to 2021, with an exciting update that fans could anticipate not just 2, but 5 new tracks. The much-anticipated hologram concert has been officially termed The Voyage, and to accompany the release of the band's 5 new tracks, a documentary is set to serve as an adjunct to the performance. Today, all members of the quartet are in their 70s, and among the highlights of Voyage are 2 releases: a touching ballad named I Still Have Faith in You, and an energetic Don't Shut Me Down. Both songs are currently available for listening, so make sure to give them a play. For those eager to experience Voyage, mark your calendars for London in 2022. Let's raise our glasses and celebrate the enduring allure of this Swedish marvel. Not just a musical phenomenon, ABBA's influence extended into fashion, pop culture, and even politics. Their unique blend of pop hooks, harmonies, and flashy stage outfits not only defined a decade, but also left a lasting impact on the music industry and popular culture worldwide. Their songs have been covered by numerous artists featured in various films, musicals, most notably Mamma Mia, and even political campaigns illustrating their timeless appeal and widespread influence. This cultural legacy underscores their role as one of the most enduring symbols of the 1970s and beyond, with their music continuing to inspire new generations. ABBA was among the first groups to understand and exploit the potential of the music video in promoting their songs, predating MTV by several years. Their innovative use of visuals to accompany their music played a crucial role in their success, particularly in markets where they couldn't perform live due to logistical reasons. This foresight can be seen as a precursor to modern digital marketing strategies in the music industry, making ABBA pioneers in more ways than just musically. Their early adoption of music videos significantly contributed to their international acclaim and helped solidify their status as pop icons. Opened in May 2013, ABBA the Museum in Stockholm is not just a tribute to the group's legacy, but also an interactive experience that immerses visitors in the world of ABBA. Featuring a vast array of memorabilia, including costumes, instruments, gold records, and original items from the group's history, the museum provides insight into ABBA's journey and achievements. It stands as a testament to their lasting influence and a pilgrimage site for fans worldwide, showcasing the enduring love and fascination with ABBA's music and persona. This museum solidifies the group's place not only in the history of music, but also as a cultural phenomenon that continues to captivate the hearts of many across the globe. While not overtly political, ABBA's portrayal of strong, independent women, both in their music and personal lives, resonated with feminist themes of the 1970s. Songs like Dancing Queen celebrated freedom and joy, becoming anthems for women's liberation movements. Furthermore, the prominence of Agnetha and Frida, not just as vocalists but as integral parts of the group's image and success, challenged traditional gender roles in the music industry. Their success and agency have been revisited in recent years as examples of early feminist icons in pop music. Exploring the rich and captivating history of ABBA, it's clear that the synergy between its members, Benny Andersson, Björn Ulvaeus, Agnetha Fältskog, and Annie Frid Lyngstad, was the cornerstone of their unprecedented success. Each member brought their own distinct flair and talent, creating a blend that was both magical and revolutionary in the music scene. Benny Andersson, with his exceptional skills as a composer and keyboardist, laid the musical foundation. Björn Ulvaeus's talent as a songwriter and guitarist, alongside his dynamic partnership with Benny, was crucial in crafting the stories that resonated in their songs. Agnetha Fältskog, known for her emotive voice and striking presence, added depth and allure to their performances, while Annie Frid Lyngstad's versatile singing and charismatic stage presence completed the quartet's unparalleled sound. Together, they not only dominated the charts worldwide, but also left an indelible mark on pop culture. Their journey from individual musicians to global icons was marked by groundbreaking hits, memorable performances, and a legacy that continues to inspire. The magic of ABBA lay not just in their music, but in the unique blend of personalities and talents of its members, making their story one of enduring fascination. As we voyage through their journey, it's undeniable that their music holds a special place in the hearts of many. Now we turn the spotlight to you, our viewers. Are you enchanted by the timeless tunes of ABBA? Let's get the conversation started. Drop a A in the comments if you hold a torch for this iconic ensemble. And if you've enjoyed diving deep into the rich tapestry of ABBA's legacy, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to Iconic Inside. Let's keep the music playing and the stories alive.